Over the last 2.5 years, we've been making videos for YouTube, predominantly about our narrowboat. We bought this boat and stripped it to a complete shell, and we're now 90% of the way through rebuilding it, and that'll become our full-time liveaboard home. But now we're getting towards the end of this project, we're actually starting to enjoy the rest of the canal network as well. And that's where these come in. Our bikes. But these aren't any bikes. These are electric bikes. Back in April, I got this one, the Eskute Netuno, and it got me out and about, and don't like the idea so much. We got her one as well. And I must say, it's been about 30 years before that since Dawn was last on a bike, and that's given her the confidence to get back out there and get cycling. In the 6 months or so that I've had this Eskute Netuno, I've been really impressed with it, and I've done well over 500 miles on it. I reckon it's actually probably closer to 1,000 miles if I actually worked it out exactly where I've been. This 250 watt hub drive motor gives you that power and confidence to be able to tackle those big hills and the longer rides without fear of getting tired and not being able to make it home. Around a month ago, Eskute got in touch with me to say that they were bringing out an uprated version of the Eskute Netuno, the Eskute Netuno Pro. They wondered if I'd be interested in testing one and trying it out just to see what it's like in comparison to the base model. And instead of standing here talking about it, I think the best thing to do is for me to get changed out my work clothes and let's go for a ride on them. The basic configuration of the two bikes is pretty much the same. They use the same frame, same wheels, same saddle, handlebars, wheels, tyres, etc. The main differences are, first of all, the motor. On the standard Netuno, the motor is a 250 watt hub drive motor. That means the motor itself is actually built into the back wheel. On the Netuno Pro, it's what's known as a mid-drive motor, and therefore the motor itself is just in front of the pedals. In general terms, mid-drive motor gives a better efficiency than the hub drive motor. The standard Netuno is fitted with a 7-speed Shimano gear set, whereas the Netuno Pro is fitted with a 9-speed AS gear set. The display and control system on the Netuno is fitted centrally in the headset, whereas here on the Netuno Pro we've got the display in the middle and the controls over to the left. The battery and charger supplied with each bike is identical. However, because we're using a mid-drive motor on this Netuno Pro, overall they reckon you can get up to 85 miles pedal assist on the Netuno Pro, whereas you only get up to 65 miles pedal assist on the standard Netuno. So they're the basic details of the bike. I think the next thing to do is get off this canal towpath and go and find some hills, and that way we can do the first test, which is seeing just how good this motor is. Just down here on the left then is a turn that takes me up a hill. It's not massively long, maybe only 100 yards or so, but it is quite a steep climb. Let's see how we get on. Dropping it right down. Think at that, I'm in 3rd gear. I'm only in level assist 3 at the minute. There are 5 levels of pedal assist. I will knock that up. So at that, gear 3, level assist 5, I'm basically putting no effort in whatsoever, just turning them pedals. The 250 watt mid-mount motor is making life very simple. I will go and find a little bit of cycle track now, and we can test these gears and brakes and things. And then a little bit later on, we come to a series of quite big, long climbs that'll put that motor to the test. Well, now we're away from the hustle and bustle of the road, I think it's time to talk about gears. As I've already mentioned, this bike has a 9-speed AS gear set on it, whereas the standard Netuno has a 7-speed Shimano gear set. The difference between the two for overall general riding, if you're sort of fairly new to cycling or you don't do a lot of serious stuff, is probably negligible. You're only really needing those extra couple of gears if you're getting into some really serious stuff. When I first got the Netuno, I took it out the box and built it up. There is a video that I'll pop in the corner here that you can watch if you want to see how the Netuno went together, which is pretty much the same as how this one went together. And straight from the box, those 7-speed Shimano gear set worked spot on. Didn't have to fiddle with them or adjust them at all. However, this one, this 9-speed AS gear set, out of the box, it really wasn't set up anything like right. Most of the gears, it would try and skip around and change gear all the time as you were riding along. In reality, there was only kind of 5th and 9th gear it actually sat nicely in. Our boat is based in Rotherham, and we're quite fortunate that Rotherham Council have set up what they call their cycling hub. And once a week there's a van comes outside the council offices, and they'll do minor adjustments and repairs to your bikes for you for free. The idea being it encourages people to cycle rather than using your car. So I popped this bike along there and they gave it a quick once over, just did any fine tuning to things like the brakes and stuff like that, and also set up the gears. However, I must say, even now it has been set up professionally, in a couple of the gears it does still try and skip a little bit. As you can see there, both this bike and the standard Netuno have no problems going through puddles or indeed being ridden in the rain. They are both fully waterproof and able to be used as an everyday bike. On both bikes, the LCD display is centrally placed so you can read it easily. However, on the standard Netuno, the buttons to control everything are here in the middle, whereas here on the Netuno Pro, they're over on the left, so obviously you don't have to take your hands off the handlebars to either change the pedal assist level or scroll through the menus. Obviously that's a much better benefit for safety, that you're keeping both hands firmly on those handlebars whilst riding along. The next little test I'm going to do is ride up through these woods. there's a path just down here that basically goes straight up through them. Again, it's similar to that last little hill that I tried. It's not massively steep or massively long, but this one, obviously being in the woods, has got lots of leaves and mud and things in there, so it makes it a little bit tricky for the bike to get a grip, and therefore it'll be interesting to see just how this mid-mount motor manages to put the power down and see whether it can drag me to the top. So as we turn the corner, dropping the gears right down and increasing the pedal assist level to number 5. So far coping more than admirably. It is, however, as we go round this tree that things start to become a little steeper and a little bit more of a test for the bike and possibly for me. Oh, changed gears wrong there, came up a gear instead of going down. I've now dropped it down into first gear, obviously the lowest one available, with pedal assist 5. Pushing me up nicely. On some of the really loose mud, I can just feel the back wheel spinning ever so slightly, as basically the bike's actually putting through more power than is required. So yeah, I did that nice and comfortably. I must say, I came up there in the summer on the standard Netuno, and this actually handled it better in the winter than that did in the summer. Although the Netuno did get me up there, it was a little bit more of a struggle. What I'm now going to do is spin myself round, we'll go back down, and that'll give these brakes a test. So as we start to drop down again, I'm on the brakes. We don't want the bike running away. This bike, as per the standard Netuno, is fitted with 160mm standard disc brakes. They're not semi-hydraulic or fully hydraulic, they are just mechanical. And I'm keeping control of the speed here, not locking the wheels up. Obviously if we start to lock the wheels up, that's where we can get into trouble, skidding and sliding. I must say on Dawn's bike that you briefly saw earlier, the white bike that was in the background, I've recently upgraded those brakes to full hydraulic, because the brakes that came on that bike were frankly rubbish. The overall cost to replace the discs, pads and all the cabling and levers needed was a little over £70, and it has made a massive difference. What does surprise me is that Eskute haven't gone the whole hog and gone for at least semi-hydraulic brakes on this, or potentially even hydraulic. For that small amount extra it would cost when you work out from the manufacturing point of view, I think it will be an added benefit. Don't get me wrong, these brakes do the job, but the whole point is it's got a more powerful motor, gives you a better riding experience, so why not upgrade those brakes at the same time? Well, I think it's time to pull over and make myself a brew. Well, as you can see, looking at the state of the bike and the state of me, I'm not afraid to get mucky and really push it just to see what this bike is capable of doing. And what's my overall impressions of it then? The Netuno versus the Netuno Pro. Obviously, one thing that has to bear in mind is the Netuno Pro is around 50% more expensive than the standard Netuno. So why would you spend that extra 50%? Well, clearly that mid-drive motor is a big help. Don't get me wrong, the 250 watt hub drive motor on the standard Netuno does the job just fine. But you can definitely tell the difference. That's definitely giving you more power and more torque when you need it. And because it's more efficient, I tend to find I'm riding this bike using pedal assist level 3 rather than the standard Netuno I'm using pedal assist level 5. Clearly that's going to give you more range and mean that you don't have to charge that battery up so often and make these rides all the more enjoyable. The display and control system as well is far superior on this bike. On the standard Netuno you can order off the Eskute website an upgrade that's similar to this, but therefore you're paying more money, you're having to pay for that upgrade, whereas the Netuno Pro comes with that good system straight away. It's really easy to use. The one slight downside to this system is you can't connect it to Eskute's own app, their app that will show you how far you've cycled and things like that. But I tend not to use that app anyway, to be perfectly honest. I use an app called Strava, and I can use that app for no matter what bike I'm on or whether I'm out walking or running. Not that I do much running. But the Strava app means I can use it with any bike. If you're trying to use the Eskute app, you can only use it with a range of their Eskute bikes. I think the only negative I can find about this bike compared to the standard Netuno is that gear setup. I'm not keen on this 9-speed AS gear set. I much prefer that 7-speed Shimano gear set. It comes ready out the box to use, and when you do need to tweak and change it, it's very simple to get it set up bang on. Like I said, this has been set up by professionals and it's still not quite there. Don't get me wrong, the bike is perfectly rideable as it is. It just occasionally tries to skip out a gear when you're riding along. So Eskute, switch it back, put that 7-speed Shimano set on there, ditch this AS set. I have fitted on this bike the mudguards, or fenders, depends on where you're from as to what you know them as. I think they are a real asset. When you're out and about, I mean, I am still sort of half covered in mud anyway, but that's because I've largely been off-road and going through lots of muddy tracks. If you are sort of cycling to work or whatever though, and there's a bit of water on the road, these mudguards, fenders, do a great job of keeping most of that water off. That means that when you get to work, you're not absolutely soaking wet. They are an addition that's available off the Eskute website. I think they're well worth the money though. When I've finished my cuppa then, I'm going to start heading off home. But I'm going to go a different way home to what I've come. I'm going to go a way that's mainly on roads, but it's got a couple of really big climbs in there. Again, that'll really test that motor, which, having done well over 100 kilometres on the bike now, I am getting a good feel for it. And like I've said, I can feel that motor's a good one and provides the power when needed. But let's just give it that final test. Give it those couple of big climbs on those roads. Before I do that though, I would say as my final little bit of summing up, the Eskute Netuno is a very good, very capable bike, and if you're looking to get back into cycling after maybe many years of not being on a bike, that'll do the job perfectly for you. It's got that power, it gives you the confidence to tackle those hills and go out on the nice rides. If however you're wanting to go that one step further, maybe you've been doing a bit of biking already and you're just wanting to be able to increase that range you're doing and maybe push yourself a bit more to some of them bigger climbs, I think this is the bike to do it. That mid-drive motor gives you that power, gives you that confidence and gives you that range. As we've started the climb up then, I've dropped it down. I think I'm now in 6th gear, and I've put pedal assist level 5 on. And to be fair, my legs are just turning. I'm not putting any effort in whatsoever. And especially on camera, it can be difficult to judge just how steep an incline we are going up. But this is the kind of hill that if I was on a standard road bike, I would certainly expect to be getting out of the saddle towards the top to get enough power in there. Bearing in mind, I'm a bloke in my mid-40s who's perhaps not as fit as I once was. Maybe superior athletes could do it much easier. But like I said, without an electric bike, without that 250 watt mid-drive assist, this is the kind of hill I'd be a bit worried about tackling. And as you can tell, I'm not even out of breath. Just keep them feet turning, let that motor do the work. So as I approach these walkers, I'll say thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you all later.